Hey everybody, Friday, June 28th. I was just having a meal with steak in it, and it made me reminisce about the old days when I first started getting serious about training. And I said, oh, I'll do a video. So when I started, the idea was, to bulk up, to gain muscle, because I had a fairly efficient metabolism growing up. So my diet when I first started training was, believe it or not, I'm not recommending this, but 2 to 3 pounds of steak a day, bagels, and orange juice. That's what I ate. And I got really strong, and I got really full and really soft. So I felt helped me to get over the initial hump with my then limited nutritional knowledge. And then, of course, I learned to clean it up and, get lean, but while retaining and even growing, yielding more muscle tissue. But that was my initial diet all those years ago. And I wanted to reminisce a little about bodybuilding and talk about that because that's what I will always be, a bodybuilder. And I define that as anyone trying to gain lean muscle and lose body fat, which really is a broad spectrum of people, because many of us, aren't we trying to do that, gain lean muscle and lose body fat? But anyway, there's a number of things I wanted to talk about. Actually, I'll get to the bodybuilding stuff later, but while it's on my mind, I've been asked about many times when I was training people, personal training, are you making this up as you're going? And my answer was always no, because every person is individual, and as a trainer, you have to know people's goals and any ailments. Like I've said in the past, anything that precludes them from getting to their goals. I've always looked at it like a wrestling match. In professional wrestling, that is, know your beginning of the match and know your finisher, know your closer, know your ending. Now, how you get there is an educated guess. For example, I may have planned to do squats with a client one day, but maybe their back or knees were hurting. So on the fly, I'd have to change it immediately because you don't ever want to put a client in a compromising position or situation. So I would do perhaps have them against the wall with a ball, with a Swiss ball, and then have them hold dumbbells and do dumbbell Swiss ball squats. So I also didn't walk around, as some trainers do, with a pen and a pad and write everything down. And I have a good memory, so I would tend to be able to remember what their target sets, what I call their personal bests in certain lifts were. For example, if a client could do on chest day inclines, incline presses with 50s for 6, let's just arbitrarily say, then the next time we arrived at that exercise, it was to get 50s for 7 or 8 and on, and always trying to progress when we could. So I always was paying attention, as you must with clients, and always knew where we were trying to get to, but was also malleable enough to be able to change things around on the fly as we needed to during the course of the session. So that's my spiel on that. Also, I get asked, what am I supposed to do when I get to the gym? And my recommendation is know what you're training that day. But also, when you get there, I don't believe in stretching prior. You want to stretch during and after when muscles are pliable. Never stretch cold. I've said this before, it's like taking frozen chicken out of the fridge and playing with it, or the freezer rather, it can rip. You must thaw the body out. So an ample time to stretch is during and after exercise, but never before. I've seen people do myofascial rolling. I think that's okay, but just not excessively. I've seen people overdo the warm-up, so I think a little bit is good. A little stationary cycling. Excuse me, there's sweat in my eye. It's rather hot today. Or just a little bit of motion to get the blood flowing. And then you can stretch. So, excuse me, I'm going to readjust. The sun is sort of in my eyes. What was I going to say? So, don't stretch prior. Stretch during and after exercise. What else did I want to cover? Bear with me. Well, I've been asked bodybuilding. My opinion, of course, as I have served as a judge before. I've served as a press, media, writing, contest reports. I'm a former competitor and champion, of course. So in my experience, hands down, the greatest physique ever on a bodybuilding stage would be, in my opinion, the 1998 Flex Wheeler Arnold Classic rendition. It was so good he could never reproduce that form again. He was close in 93, and many people would argue that look, but I would argue he's at least as hard, if not harder, but bigger in the 1998 version. So that's my all-time favorite physique of all time. The most ripped person ever? I have an easy answer for that one. Excuse me, the sun is blaring today. 1993, and I was there, the Night of Champions, Andres Munzer. If you look up on the internet, you can probably find photos. He died, unfortunately, in 1996. That was the first pro show I've ever been to, and I was a kid at the time, and it's still, I've never seen anyone that ripped before. The thing about the human body is, it's amazing, is he didn't look that good. He looked good, but he wasn't that ripped in the morning of the show. Otherwise, he would have won. He placed second that year to Porter Cottrell, 1993, for you bodybuilding historians. He wound up taking second after the night show. He should have been first because he was ridiculous. He was shredded. So that's the most ripped physique I've ever seen. The most overall impressive, I also got to see in the flesh. Ronnie Coleman, 2001 Arnold Classic, was ridiculous. What was impressive about that was Ronnie, an 8-time Mr. Olympia champion, one of the greatest ever, at that point was winning Mr. Olympias. He didn't have to do any other show a year. He just had to defend his title once a year. And he, early in the year, took on the challenge of winning the Arnold Classic, and then 6 months or whatever it was later, won the Olympia again. Controversially that year, but he won. And it's hard for a big man to peak kind of like twice a year. But his overall package and conditioning and structure and symmetry was insane at that show. So that was a very impressive physique. Female bodybuilding, which is largely, extinct. They don't have a Miss Olympia anymore, but Corey Everson, 6-time Miss Olympia, was one of the greatest of all time. But in my opinion, Linda Murray, pick a year, was just flawless, beautiful, round, full. One of the greatest physiques, ever in the terms of female bodybuilding. So I didn't get to see. No, I did get. Excuse me. 2002. I was working that show, and I did get to see her compete, and her conditioning was crazy. So when people ask the allure of bodybuilding, I've said this before, that's to me what it's about, is the improvements. I can't explain how exciting it was when you would see a competitor from the year prior, and then you'd see what they would look like this year, the next year, and if they had improved or not. It was such an amazing, cool thing to see. I'll give you an example. In 2002, Ronnie was told to bring the same look he brought to the Arnold in 2001. Only he was a little flat for him in terms of physique in 2002 Olympia. He won. And amongst all the criticism, something happened, because he got so motivated, I'll use that word, that he came back to 2003 Olympia. He was at 287 pounds. So he was up 40-something pounds around that from the year prior. And I remember being backstage, and all of our jaws were just dropped. To this day, I've not seen a physique like that. So the mind is so powerful with motivation. It's amazing what you can do. And I still follow, to a degree, the sport. I follow the Olympia and the Arnold Classic. I miss those old days because a lot of people turn pro today, and this is a fact. And 20 years ago, for you to turn professional in bodybuilding, you have to win a national championship. Is that Lucy? Everybody see Lucy in the back? Anyway, so there were fewer pro cards, and I feel the lineups were just, crazy. The talent pool was just nuts, and it was a very exciting time, and I'm glad I got to be a part of it and cover it and witness it and see what it was all about. So that's a little bodybuilding reminiscing. I think there was another topic I wanted to cover, but next week at some point, I'm going to finally post the cover of the book of Outdoor Physique. At this juncture, it's 2 covers. I'm pretty sure that they're going to go one way, and that's okay. I'm really proud of the book, and what will be will be. The important thing is it's coming out. It will help people, and it's my 13th published book, and it's like my final stamp on my literary contributions and my dreams and goals. So I'm just beyond elated and thankful. And what will be will be. So I'm going to post that in a week or so. Once I get the okay, of course, from the publisher. But Look forward to sharing that with everybody because I've talked about it for so long. Outdoor Physique, your portable body transformation. Everybody have a great 4th weekend. Be safe and keep pumping.